Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Tamara. Today we are doing our fantasy series and we are discussing the second book in the Starlight Shadow trilogy. If you would like this in video format without ad breaks, you'll need to head on over to Patreon and sign up. We also have an after show available on Patreon and Spreaker. After shows and exclusive audio content are available on the Spreaker app. You need to sign up as a supporter to gain access. Don't forget, you can also join me and my two co-hosts over on the Book Club's app for even more book chats. Please subscribe and like the podcast wherever you're listening. And if you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me everywhere at Shelf Addiction. Joining me today is featured co-host Casey from Heart Full of Ink. Welcome back, Casey.
Hello, hello. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay! Fun times. It's going to be a good one today, I feel.
Yes, it will be.
Tell everyone where they can find you online.
You can find me on Facebook at Heart Full of Ink, on Instagram at Casey_HeartFullOfInk, or on my website, heartfulofink.com.
Okay. So before we get started, I always want to remind you that with book chats, we talk full spoilers. So spoiler alert, you have been warned. Today we are discussing Eclipse the Moon, written by Jesse Mahalik. The audiobook is narrated by Frankie Corza, published on July 12th, 2022 by Harper Voyager and Harper Audio. The paperback is 435 pages and the unabridged audio is 12 hours and 21 minutes. Casey, would you kindly share the synopsis?
Key Ildez has been many things: hacker, soldier, bounty hunter. She never expected to be a hero, but when a shadowy group of traitors starts trying to goad the galaxy's two superpowers into instigating an interstellar war, Key throws herself into the search to find out who is responsible and stop them. Digging up hidden information is her job, so hunting traitors should be a piece of cake, but the primary suspect spent years in the military, and someone powerful is still covering his tracks. Disrupting their plans will require the help of her entire team, including Varro Runco, a Valerian weapons expert who makes her pulse race. Quiet, grumpy, and incredibly handsome, Varro watches her with hot eyes, but ignores all of her flirting. So Key silently vows.
Violently?
She says silently vows, not violently. My bad. Silently vows to keep her feelings strictly platonic, but that vow will be put to the test when she and Varro are forced to leave the safety of their ship and venture into enemy territory alone. Cut off from the rest of their team, they must figure out how to work together, and fast, because a single misstep will cost thousands of lives. Not violently. But
Not violently.
Sorry. Typo of the mouth. That was...
Look, it happens to the best of us. I do it every day, so it's fine. Okay. High level. What did you think when you finished the book?
Okay. So, I have to start off by saying, when we finished book 1, I said I wanted more action. And book 2 did have more action. So I have to give her props for that, because that's what I asked for. And we got that. That being said,
I bet I know what you're going to say.
There were a lot of annoying aspects. Be careful what you ask for. There were a lot of annoying aspects. I'm going to rip this to shreds eventually, but I got to give her props. I asked for more action and we got it. So, okay. Gotta announce that to start off with, but
okay.
Yeah, it was really cute. It was well written, but kind of like what we said with Bride, this felt like a book we've read 100 times before. It didn't feel different. It didn't feel unique. It didn't feel like a story that I couldn't predict. I knew exactly what was happening. Everything was so predictable.
Very predictable.
And it's not bad, but it was just meh.
Yeah, that's kind of where I sit with it, is meh. And I think high level, it was fine. I liked it well enough. I think it was expected, and not I didn't find myself overly disappointed either. I just kind of came right in the middle. But I also noticed one of my disliked tropes was a major theme in this book, and that is the constant miscommunication.
Oh my god,
it was stop. And you've got someone who can read minds, and y'all still can't figure it out. And it's funny to me, like the whole first part of the book, she's like, I know you don't like me. You don't want to be near me. And he like, what? You don't like me. She like, what?
And then she confesses, and it takes another full 24 hours before he's like, yeah, no, I like you too. And I was like, why are you dragging this out?
I know.
He could have said something right then. Not like, why wait 24 fucking hours. Like, goddamn.
And again, y'all, these are 30-year-olds. 30-year-old people.
They're not acting like it.
No.
They're not acting like they've been around the block, that they've been in relationships, that they, were soldiers in a war. Not getting that vibe from them.
No, it's getting very YA vibes. And actually, I think that is also what I thought high level. It was the whole book was YA feeling.
Very, yes.
Very young, even though, there were some, I guess parts when they were escaping and rescuing. There's a little bit of gore, not a lot, very little. The sex was very little. It was like we had to wait all the way to the end to get it.
Again.
And it wasn't. And again, like with the first book, it wasn't that hot. It was that hot
very meh.
Yeah. So I am of the school of thought where I don't think this author rocks it with the spice. She doesn't know how to do it well.
It's not her forte, which is fine. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. And I'm not gonna.
So I almost feel like to save us all, just make it closed door. Like have them kiss and whatever, and like it fade into the blackness. We don't need to see. We don't need to
give
see
us some hot foreplay or mind fucking stuff, and then close the door, and we don't have to see the rest of it. Where she's like, "I'm sending you a fantasy of me on my knees," and then it happens, and we don't have to see it. Like that's fine. That's hot enough. You don't have to show us the rest.
Anything. Yeah, because it was such a minor part of the story. Which almost had me questioning, is this even, I guess it's romance. It is romance.
It is romance.
It's not like
the relationship is very center to the plot.
Yeah. I don't know how to explain it, y'all. It's just not my kind of romance. So I feel like this was even again, like, and this is my problem. I didn't feel like I wanted to root for them. I was so annoyed by them. I didn't feel the pull, the electricity, all the things. It just was annoying. And that's the problem. I like it does. I don't have to have all the sex and all the things.
Yeah.
But I need to feel I need to believe that they are like head over heels for each other. And I think the author kind of got there at the back end, just barely.
It felt more realistic than book one. We got to give her props for that. Book one was way worse because they were supposed to be enemies. And now we have two people who can't communicate. But it was, they didn't talk to each other. They didn't do anything with each other. It was, he was very protective and she would just ignore him and they would miscommunicate and
give each other the stink eye and they don't understand why. It's like Key's whole thing. She's like, I'm trying to be a good friend. I love you.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. I mean, I know people like that, so it is realistic in that sense, but it is really weird. And
very.
They weren't doing a lot together. They were together, but they weren't doing a lot together to make me think, oh, like, this is why she loves him. She's like, he's hot. I took one look at him and he was hot. And he's just so hot. And he's hot. And I love him because he's hot. And I was like, what else, babe? Like, what else is he doing that makes you love him?
Which is so YA. He's so hot. He's so cute. Oh, I can just stare into his whatever color his eyes were. But, I don't know.
I'm going to pout and he bakes me cookies. So I love him. And I'm like, that's not...
So many fucking cookies.
So many cookies. So many cookies. I don't even want to eat cookies.
Key isn't like 500 pounds.
That's what I thought. I was like, isn't she supposed to be really tiny?
Yeah.
But she eats like a dozen cookies a day.
I mean,
a couple times a week.
Are we supposed to hate her because she has
the best high metabolism?
Yeah, she can eat 1,000,000 cookies and not gain any weight. She can eat cookies and macaroni and cheese
all the time.
She is not a healthy vegan. She is not a healthy
vegetarian. And she's not
vegetarian.
Not a healthy vegetarian.
You know how they say vegetarians can be the unhealthy kind where they all gain weight because they're all eating like Cheetos and shit.
Yes.
I mean, and fries.
Yeah.
That's the kind of vegetarian she is.
Key. Yeah, no, she's eating cookies all the time. She just wants sweets all the time.
Yeah.
Mac and cheese all the time, which me too. Love me some mac and cheese at midnight. Like, yes, that is a thing I love. But I gain all the weight.
Yeah. I don't know. You know, I didn't think I was ultra sensitive to food issues before, but I seem to be with this series. Something in it. Now, I love food. Y'all know I have a foodie Instagram. I love to dine out. I like to try different foods. I love a good restaurant. I love a good recipe. I'm a cook. So I do appreciate stories that have food in it in a way. But for some reason, it started to feel a little problematic to me in a way. And I'm not saying that these characters had like EDs or anything, because I don't think they did. But something about it, something about how...
It was like a major plot point that wasn't really moving the plot along. Like, food was supposed to be important, but it wasn't delivering that importance to us as the readers.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, okay, so for example, when Varro was on his recovery, right? You know, he was basically ill and not well. Do you feed people that are sick as hell and trying to recover cookies?
Yes, apparently. And then midnight mac and cheese.
I mean, why the fuck didn't she go make him some fucking vegetable soup or something?
Because she doesn't know how to cook. Everybody else cooks except her. Like, she can make her mac and cheese and that's it. She can't even make cookies, I don't think. Everybody has to cook cookies for her.
So I had the funniest, like, glimpse in my head. Do you know that movie Cool Runnings? You know, okay, so it's gonna age me, but like in the 90s, there was this movie called Cool Runnings where these Africans are like bobsledders. So anyway, part of it is like one of the guys like falls off the bobsled. He's sliding across the thing, and one of his teammates looks down over him. He says, "Cinco, you alive, man? You alive?" So I can imagine Key looking at Varro like, "You alive, man? Here's a cookie. Here's a cookie.
Here's a cookie.
Like, girl,
Eat a
oh my
cookie."
God. It just seems so comical to me. I didn't believe at all like anybody was in any real danger like in the first book. So it read as comedy to me. And then here, take a cookie.
Here,
I'm like,
take a cookie.
Jesus.
Eat a cookie. It's fine. No, that was really annoying and, you know, a repeat from the last book as well, although we weren't constantly in the kitchen cooking or going to the grocery store. But the other thing that really annoyed me was Key's obsession with money and paying people back and being not quite broke, but almost broke, but needing money. And I was like, this is so repetitive from the first book. That was like the main issue in the first book. It doesn't need to be an issue here.
Which is strange because in the first book, he was like, oh, he wants to pay for this? Let him pay for it. You know, she was telling, oh, girl, you know, hey, let him pay. He wants to buy all this stuff for our ship. Let him do it. And now she's like, I gotta buy dinner for you.
I have to buy dinner for you. I have to rent a room for you. I have to buy your suit for you. And it needs to be cheap because I'm like not quite broke, but close to broke. And I was like, girl, Torin is his
like,
boss.
I already paid for it.
He already paid for it. He's probably richer than you. Stop stressing about the money.
That was also aggravating.
Yeah, it was a repeat from book one and completely unnecessary. Like, the author has already dealt with that. The reader doesn't need to see it a second time.
We better not see it a third time.
Oh my God,
swear.
if we do. I'm pretty sure Lexi is rich. She better be rich.
I mean, she's getting more bounty hunting jobs, and she takes some that they wouldn't take because, she will do more. So maybe she has a lot more.
Hopefully she doesn't have to be like, oh my God, I'm almost broke, but I need to buy him this fancy suit because I have to pay for everything because...
And what about that is sexy? What about that is cute?
It's not.
Nothing. So it's supposed to be a romance, right? Aren't you supposed to be swooning and doing all this
swooning
stuff?
over his shoulders and worrying about money. And I'm like, this doesn't... It's not that it makes her look bad, but it also doesn't make her look good because we've had this whole issue before in book 1.
Exactly. You're right. Correct. I feel like the author doesn't quite... I feel like she wants to write one type of book, but her publisher is saying, we need this kind of book. So she's kind of trying to fit a round peg in a square peg in a round hole kind of thing. And it's not quite hitting the way it should be.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think she wanted to write an entire trilogy from the captain's point of view. What's her name? From book 1.
Yeah, I can't remember right now. Even though they said her name a couple times.
Yeah, it's something. It'll come to me. But, this story felt very similar to hers. And I didn't want to, get all editorly, but, the voice is very similar. Yeah, Key is doing different things, but, a lot of it could have been in book 1 because this is exactly how she was acting, too. Right down to the money issues and cooking and feeding everybody. And I'm going to set timers to allow myself to, freak out for 10 minutes in the garden. We did that in book 1 too. It felt very similar. The voice was very similar. If you took Key's name out of it, it could have been book 1 all over again.
It could have been Tavi. That's her
Tavi.
name.
Yes. Thank you.
It could have been her. And I think ultimately, I wouldn't have minded if we had some more struggles between, was it Torin and Tavi?
Yeah, Torin and Tavi.
And maybe they could have been the focus again. I mean, maybe we don't have to do this whole rotating of couples thing. I like a story where the couples have to fight for it, earn it. Maybe we could have had that. And I found myself really comparing this a lot to the first book because it was so similar, as you said, but also being annoyed that Tavi was so present in this book
but doing nothing.
By doing nothing. I mean, how many times Key kept bringing her up and thinking about, my best friend or sister or some shit, but she's my captain and I can't lean on her and tell her all the things. I just was so what?
It was annoying and didn't feel realistic. Yeah.
No. I don't know.
It was... No, I think if this book had been Tavi 2.0, I think it would have been fantastic.
I don't know. I think... I wanted to really like this book. I wanted to because like I said earlier, I really liked Key's character in the first book. She seemed... Although I did have a concern she would be young.
She's 30 young. And she's acting like she's 16.
Acting young. But they
I'm all in. I love you after one kiss. Girl, you said you have boyfriends and you scare them off. And you're still... I mean, I know people like this in real life. They exist. But it's still reading about it from her point of view. I'm like, what is going on in this head? You need a girlfriend to sit you down and smack some sense into you.
She needs some balance. And Tavi isn't giving her balance.
No. Neither is Eli.
I guess, no, Eli is not either. But so Eli, there's this scene where who did he help up? Oh, it was the doctor. He helped the doctor up and walked out of the room, and he turns back to Key and says, "Thank you." Did you catch that? I'm like, oh, he's dating the doctor?
Well, at the end of book 1, he was sitting at the table with the doctor and Shari. And I was like, I'm getting some vibes that maybe it's the three of them. And there's one point where Key was like, I know your secrets. You're going to have to talk at some point. And he's like, nope, I'm not telling you anything. So I think it's a throuple situation that she's not touching.
I don't think it's a throuple. I still don't. Now, instead of going with Shari, I think he's just dating the doctor in secret. Like,
I mean, that would be really cute.
Yeah. Like, oh, look at that. See, that was one kind of cool thing. She just kind of slid it in there. And if you weren't paying attention, you might not have caught it.
Yeah.
But, you know, just like low key in the background, hey, other people on the ship are hooking up.
I wish book 3 was about Eli and the doctor. Like I feel like that would be a lot better and very different from these first 2 books. But because we're getting Lexi, I'm worried that it's going to feel like a whole other repeat.
It will be, because she wasn't even present in this book at all. She was gone.
Yeah, she was gone. They talked about her.
Yeah, to tell us that she's gone.
But no.
And we have to stop and we're going to pick her up again. She's going to help us with this new mission.
Yeah. They need her.
It's going to be Tavi 3.0.
I hope not. I hope Lexi's not obsessed with food or money. Like, I know she's richer than them, so she shouldn't be worried about, I have to pay for his suit. He's already a fucking rich dude, and she's rich, and like, no. I hope that's not an issue again. And then the whole, let me cook for you, let me cook for you, let me cook for you.
I better not get not one cooking thing in book 3.
I think you're going to get a little bit.
But she's such a...
just because the author loves food. The author loves food so much.
I guess.
As long as she's not going grocery shopping and trying to work a budget and, you know, begging people to cook a dozen cookies for her every single day of a week. Like,
well, I read the synopsis for the 3rd book. I actually went ahead and did that because I just could not read it because I wanted to kind of have an idea. So based on the synopsis, you would think they would be too busy for all of that, but maybe not.
Oh, God.
They'll find a way to work it in.
Oh, God.
I mean, I guess the interesting thing is I am kind of wondering if the main guy, what's his name? I'm going to look it up right quick because I forgot his name. Nilo?
Yeah.
Is he going to be teleporting and appearing in her space all of a sudden? Like,
probably.
All around?
Here's some cookies. Here's some pasta. Oh my God, she mentioned pasta so much. Every other meal was like pasta with vegetables or just pasta or macaroni and cheese. And I'm like, you eat pasta and cookies every day of the week and you don't gain weight? I'm kind of mad.
In the meals.
The meal bars. So many meal bars. And there's protein in all of this. I'm like, but is there?
Is there, though?
Is there? How much protein? How much protein are you getting out of snickerdoodle cookies or chocolate chip cookies?
She's getting freaking none. If they were peanut butter cookies, she might get a couple grams if she's lucky, along with the 50 grams of sugar she's consuming. But
yeah, it was God.
Like, get out of here, lady. I don't know. I think there's a way to do food well, and it's starting to be overkill. That's the problem. It's starting to be too much, that the significance has been lost. Whatever she was trying to accomplish has been we're far past that, and now it's just gratuitous.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I agree.
So let's focus on people dying and bleeding out and stuff.
And torture and fun stuff.
Even the torture scene, dude. Okay, so... And I'm going to compare it to this series right over my head over here. The Red Rising books.
Oh, yeah, mine somewhere.
That author, Pierce Brown, knows how to do torture.
Yes, he does. And he skips sex scenes, too. He fades to black. He knows that's not his forte. So.
That's know where your strengths are and your weaknesses.
Yes.
Play into those. But I think the problem is, so we know the sex scenes aren't that great and the torture scenes aren't that great and the action scenes aren't that great. So what's left? And that's my biggest problem. So, like, for example, when they had infiltrated that base, and then they were going to go in and rescue Anna, I think her name was, and what's his face, Nick, and, they were going to do all the things. I'm like, okay. That was kind of interesting, but the longer it drug on, I want to say after she got tortured, after that, I kind of just found myself having to constantly hit rewind because I'll just fade away into something else. I'm like, wait, what just happened? Oh my God. I wasted a good 30 to 40 minutes trying to
rewind,
navigate that set. Yeah, it was bad. I didn't do that with the first book.
A lot of it didn't actually make sense. So, like, I was able to track, okay, they're finding them, they get kidnapped, the people have helmets, she's being shot with a plas gun, she eventually breaks out, yada, yada, yada. But then the bad woman from book 1, the telepath who can torture everybody and break bones with her mind, she comes along and she's both good and bad, helping them and hurting them at the same time. She's like protecting Key's mind at one point and talking to her telepathically and kind of being nice, but also like, I'm gonna kill you. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? I don't understand any of this.
And after re-listening to that section more than once, I still don't understand it. So I'm like, okay, I think I missed how, like, so I guess they're trying to say she works for the queen lady or whatever.
She works for the queen, but she's a double agent, and Morton didn't know, but now he knows, and she kidnaps him. And but she was helping, but she also wants to kill this prince because his mom doesn't like him anymore. But she's going to protect Key, but also kill Key and kill everybody else, but not. And I was like, I don't understand. I don't track this at all. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why she's doing what she's doing.
But now they want them to go and track down that guy and bring him basically dead or alive. They're going to pay him regardless. Pay them for bringing him back dead or alive, basically. So I don't know. He was just, he went out on his own and decided to make his own trouble. So now they got to take care of him.
Well, he has somebody in charge who's helping him, but it's not really official. It's like the secret official. I don't know. The whole thing's weird.
It's too murky. It's too, and that's the thing though. We have read very complex war stories with Pierce Brown. There's a lot going on, a lot of characters, a lot of backstabbing, a lot of twists, and there was no confusion. We knew what the hell was going on.
And so if there was confusion, it was intentional, and you're confused for a scene. It was a misdirect. Or a chapter, and then it's all explained, and you're like, oh, I get it now.
The payoff is worth it, because you're like, oh, no, I get, oh, no. He's done that a couple times. But this just...
It didn't work. It wasn't flowing. It wasn't... Yeah. And I mean, not even just Pierce Brown. Mercy Thompson, who we talk about every other week on this podcast. Like, she has so many complex heroes and villains and great people who are both good and bad, and everything's so convoluted, but it's easy to follow. Like, even when you have somebody who you're like, I trust you, and bad stuff happens, and you're like, oh shit, now I can't trust you. Like, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who hasn't read it, but like, there are characters who you're like, can I trust you or not? You're doing bad things, but maybe you're good. And like, no, you're bad.
A lot of morally gray going on.
Like, we can follow
this
that.
Author doesn't. This author, the nuance isn't good. It's not easy to.
Yeah, this character was changing her mind every 3 seconds in the middle of a fight scene, and I don't know what to think of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And I kind of don't care, which is bad. Because we've read lots of books that have a huge cast of characters. More than this by a long shot. And we're not confused.
Yeah.
We know who's who. We remember the names. Which makes me feel like, again, I don't have the connection that I was hoping to get, because I just don't have a connection to this grouping of characters yet. Still.
Yeah.
And we're 2/3 of the way done.
No, there was one part where they started questioning the abductees, Anna, the fashion designer, and Nick, the guard. And I was like, ooh, this would be really cool if they were actually in on it. And it was an inside job. And like there was this whole convoluted thing that they were theorizing about. And I was like, that would be really interesting. And I kind of expected something like that to maybe happen at the last second. Because they're like, no, even if they're bad, we have to try and rescue them because we're good people. And we can't maybe leave a good person behind. So I was like, oh, maybe Nick's going to pop out with a gun and shoot somebody. And like, it's going to be I was expecting that. And if that had happened, that would have been really cool. That would have been a much better plot twist. But it didn't happen. Nick is a good person. So, darn it.
He's good. Darn it. And so is,
the fashion designer.
The fashion designer, Anna. She's nice. Like, even the author tried to, like, give us a millisecond where she's like, oh, I'll buy out that soldier's contract. And she's like, are you going to put her in the
indentured servitude? Yeah. Like,
she's like, what?
No, of course not. I'm a good person. I'm a good rich person who likes fashion. And I'm like, when did this
so nice
become about fashion? Like, why? It would have been much better if the author had made some kind of plot twist with that.
No, it was very straightforward.
It was very
But for something so straightforward, we still didn't get the villain.
Yeah, the villain is like, unknown.
Yeah, like, what is it? The one woman who was the telekinetic person. Like, what is it? Who is she? Is she good, bad, evil, good, kind of gray?
All of it at once. But in the last book, like, she was pure evil. She was killing Tavi and breaking her bones and snapping her neck and like with her mind. And Torin was all upset, and they still had issues to deal with that because apparently he broke his honor because he wasn't protecting her. But we didn't go into that, so
what made Key think that she could reason with this woman or convince her to kind of help? Yeah,
Delulu. She's just Delulu.
Like, what is the reason, girl? What is it?
I don't, like, genuinely, I don't know. And I don't know why this evil bitch listened to her. Like,
I don't either.
She's supposed to be evil for evil's sake, who kills without thinking. But all of a sudden, she's protecting Key, and I don't know.
Is she going to be a part of the team? And then Tavi's like, it's okay, you almost killed me that one time. We're good now.
God, I hope not. I may quit. If that happens, I'm going to call you and just be like, I'm done. I'm out.
I'm done with this.
I'm out. You tell me how the book finishes, and I'll show up for the podcast, but I'm out.
I hope that wouldn't happen.
I hope not. That would be awful. Why would you have a villain for 2 books just to be like, oh no, she's actually maybe kind of good. And now she's on our team. Oh, God.
Because, Batman, some people say he's not a hero.
I mean,
he's an anti-hero, really.
Sometimes,
he does bad things for kind of good reason, in his opinion.
As a billionaire, he would be better off giving money to, like, mental health services and defunding the police and doing anything else to help Gotham. Like, anything else.
He just wants to buy toys and
he does
go out in a bat suit, but that's another story.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a good time to take a break. You guys, by listening to the commercials, you are supporting the podcast. Don't forget to check out the book review journal available right now on Amazon. The link is in the show notes. We'll be right back. Welcome back, guys. Fastest break ever, right?
So fast.
Okay, what should we dive into next? I know there are more things.
We haven't really talked about our hero of the story. Do we have anything to say about him?
He's so... bleh.
He's so powerful. He's so strong.
He's
the boogeyman.
He does have a unique skill Like, he can, like, control a lot of minds at once, and he's just able to make people not be seen. Like, have people not see what's right in front of them. Even through a live camera if he's close enough.
Yep.
So he's got this really cool ability.
Which, why didn't they use this in book 1? This would have been really helpful at several points around in book 1. But it was never mentioned before. So, like,
they could have got close enough. And then when the nephew was around, he could have disappeared the nephew and ran away.
They teleported the nephew, right? That's what happened.
I don't know. I forget.
I think they teleported him away.
Because like
they could have used him to find the nephew, to hunt some stuff down, and like, why did Torin need to hire Tavi in the first place if they had him, who could just go invisible and read every mind of everybody in the castle? Yeah,
he could have just found out.
Plot holes.
That seems so inappropriate now. He is like the superpower on that team.
He is the strongest person, and he's paired with
mentally strongest person. So yeah, Torin has the brute strength, right? Because he's a strong telekinetic, but this guy, he's just got the strongest mental ability that is very flexible and can help in a lot of ways. So I say he's better. I'd pull him for my team before Torin because
absolutely.
I can do more with him.
Absolutely. And he kind of negates the whole need in book 1.
Wow. So why did Varro get that? Okay, so I give the author props for being creative, but she totally messed up by making him so strong.
Yep. All of the other people on his planet fear him. They called him the boogeyman.
Yeah. Why isn't he?
He could have solved the case and found the nephew much faster than it took them to fly out, find Tavi, and then fly back.
And if he can tell where people are, he's able to give instructions to where to go to find people because he can tell where they are by their brain. And in the first book, they didn't need to be concerned about, well, how many people are behind the wall? How, when we open the door, what are we going to find? Varro should have been able to say, there are 5 people in there. 2 are humans, 3 are this. Yep. He should have been able to be the true weapons coordinator and give them the layout, but he didn't do that in the first book. He didn't do that. They should have had every advantage. That's the biggest plot hole.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Yep. Because of his abilities, book 1 is completely unnecessary. Also, how is he that powerful, but he can't hear Key go, oh god, he's so hot, every 2 seconds in her brain?
She's screaming it in her mind, basically. Screaming it.
She's like, he's so hot. His voice, he's next to me. He's hot. I have to run away from him. And he's like, I didn't know. And I was like,
I know.
Are you really that powerful?
He tried to allude that he was like trying to lock it down so he would not make her uncomfortable or like kind of.
Which is nice, but also these were your enemies, so wouldn't you want to listen to them at least the first few weeks?
Yeah, I would.
And she was screaming he's hot since the moment she saw him, so like
no. Messy with the plot. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I know one thing, I would not choose him as a pairing because I think that the fact that now that's something that doesn't happen with the first couple. The fact that she is able to feel his emotions back, like they have like this open gate of back and forth. I have got problems with that. I don't want anyone in my head that much. Nobody. I don't want to be in their head.
To a small extent, it can be sexy. Like with, again, Mercy and Adam, because we've been talking about them so long. They feel each other. They know each other's emotions. And I think, like, I would like that, but it's very brief. It's not I'm reading your mind. I'm talking to you in your mind. I know your every single thought. Like, that's too much. No, we're not going that far. But Mercy and Adam, where they're like, oh, she's happy right now, or oh, Adam's upset right now. Like, feeling the emotions, that, yeah. Especially in sexy times. Like, that can be really hot.
Oh, that's really useful.
Yeah.
I can see how that could be very useful.
But like you, I agree. The rest of the time, no, get out of my fucking head. I don't want you reading my thoughts 24/7. That's too much.
Yeah, I don't need to feel even the emotion. Like, she would feel all these different, she'd throw these adjectives out about, how he's feeling about her. At the same time, they're very conflicting also. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. That's
I don't really need that. I don't want to know that somebody thinks I'm an idiot and they also want to protect me, feel fearful for me. I don't know.
Yeah. No.
How about you don't express that? But I mean, overall, I guess he's fine. But again, I can't visualize what Varro looks like. I mean, I know he's
hot
muscular,
and blonde,
he's
and has
tall,
muscles. Like, imagine Chris Hemsworth. Like, that's what I was doing.
Is that it? Okay.
I was like, okay, he's hot, he has blonde hair, and he has muscles. He's Thor. Like, that's where my mind went, but...
Well, I don't know. The higher they are, the harder they fall. You see how Chris Hemsworth got fugly when he got fat in that movie.
So if he eats a dozen cookies a day with Key,
he's gonna be looking like that version of Thor. He's gonna be lazy with too many cookies.
Oh, God.
I don't know.
All of that pasta, all of those cookies.
Carving it up.
At least they work out in the gym for 3 hours every morning, or what the fuck ever.
Oh, and that's totally healthy.
No.
Let's just have a all-day workout.
Ugh.
And she's not even that good at it.
No,
I mean, she's not
she
good
was
at that
bad
shit,
at it.
So.
And I was surprised she was able to do as much as she could, because she complained so much about, like, even running on the treadmill in the gym. She's like, oh, I hate this. I'm bad at it. Like,
which, by the way, I don't understand how she could have carried Nick any amount of any amount.
Maybe like 10 feet down the hall.
She was carrying his ass downstairs.
4 flights of stairs, I think. Like 4 or 5. Like, it was several flights of stairs. And I was like...
that guy's head would have been on the ground, bumping the whole way. Because I don't believe she had the strength to do that.
Nope.
Not based on the descriptions we were given about her abilities in the gym and working out and all that. I don't believe that was in her to carry him.
Nope.
That sounds crazy.
That sounds really crazy. I know she complained the whole time, but like, still, you're not that strong. If you're going to tell us you're not that strong, show us that you're not that strong.
Dude, I'm sorry. The only way I'm carrying a grown-ass man is if I can drag him on the floor. You're not getting in a fireman's carry on me. I'll be on the floor. I
might be able to carry you like 10 feet and then I'll collapse.
Exactly. Like what?
Maybe. I'm being very generous with myself right now. Like, maybe I could get 10 feet.
I mean, if the building's on fire, I might suddenly get a burst of energy to get you a little way, but we're not making it the whole way.
I'm dragging your ass down the hallway.
And honestly, I would just roll your ass down the stairs, too. I'm not about to carry you. I'll get you out in the best I can, but you're going to have to roll down these stairs. I mean, or something. Not. She's not this, like, powerhouse of a human.
She's not. And she says she's not, but then she does all of these amazing feats. And I'm like, but...
like, she power lifted a 200-pound guy? I mean, what?
No,
your ass is like 100 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah.
Right? And short.
Yeah, she's very short, very thin, very tiny, sits on her ass all day, eats cookies all day.
Those cookies must have some amazing vitamins in them.
Superman strength.
She ain't getting protein. She don't know how she have any muscles at all to lift that guy. I don't know. That was ridiculous. I'm like, is she carrying that guy?
Fireman
That
style.
makes sense. Yeah.
For like over an hour. I was like, this is...
No, that is not realistic at all. Not even a little bit.
Not even a little bit. No.
Maybe she should have gotten like a shot of adrenaline or something.
Yeah.
To make that possible. Something scientific to help accomplish
or
that.
something like anti-gravity, so he doesn't feel like he's 200 pounds, but more just like a sack.
Exactly. I was laughing. I'm like, she carried his ass down the stairs.
Yes, she was.
Look, when the stuff does not make sense, I just laugh. I laugh because what else can you do? Like, what is this? I don't know.
But
oh, God. But, some of the fun stuff was her color-changing dress that she got to wear. That's fun.
That annoyed me. Like, why? Why are we doing this? And then, of course, the wall blew up, and I was like, okay, thank you for, like, making this important. I was really worried it was just going to be a big party and a bust, and nothing was going to happen, and I was going to, roll my eyes right out of my head.
I was waiting for some intelligence to come through on the party. Like, I thought that Varl would hear people talking and just start gathering information or something, but not really. People just trying to touch her dress, and she had a guard, like...
You're not allowed to touch the dress. I was like, why do people want to touch dresses? Well, if they're drunk and rich and don't care about, humanity, then yeah. But
as she was dressed up in this pretty color-changing dress with no shoes.
No shoes.
Like, that sounds like a great decision.
Ugh.
And then the guy brings her somebody's shoes, and she's like, I don't even want to think about...
I'm just running.
Where these shoes came from.
I'm running in shoes is like 3 or 4 sizes too big for me. But I tied it around the ankle, so it's super tight. I'm like, have you ever tried running in shoes too big or shoes too big?
It's called blisters for days. Her feet should have been killing her. Killing her by the end. But they weren't. We could have needed a scene of Varl rubbing her feet. Or, oh boy, healing her feet because they're so messed up from her running, carrying people, and shoes are too big for her. I mean, she should have been tripping over those fucking shoes.
Oh, yeah. She should have been falling down.
Yeah. I don't know. See, again, just stuff that just doesn't quite make sense.
Yeah.
But it's obvious. It's just so obvious. And I haven't come across, we talk about Mercy, we talk about Pierce Brown. I can talk about a couple other series too. And it's like the ridiculousness of this, it just doesn't, I don't know. She tried. Yeah, I got nothing. I got nothing else. I don't know.
Nothing else.
What else should we, is there anything else?
I'm sure there's something we could say, but like at this point, what?
I mean, we covered most of the characters.
Yeah.
I think.
I'm trying to... Do we want to talk about the prince, whose mother may or may not be killing him, but obviously is killing him, or trying to have him assassinated?
That was weird.
Yeah.
What's the prince's name again?
I don't
know. It was like some...
Lee...
Yeah.
Something. Lilg.
He was an interesting character. He actually liked her a little bit. And it was funny, the one scene where he kind of says to Kiev, like, oh, they're talking in their minds. And she's like, oh, he thinks it's his fault I was hurt on the spacewalk or whatever. And he's like, oh, I'll help you fix it.
And then he kisses her cheek.
Yeah. And he's like making him jealous. I'm like, what an idiot. That could have been, actually, I think they might have been cute. Maybe if she had hooked up with him, that might
I think he would have been better for her than Varro. Varro was... I don't want to insult him, but he's like a knockoff version of Charles. Since we keep talking about the Mercy series.
That's fresh in our minds, y'all.
Charles is the true boogeyman of all the werewolves. Varro's like he wants to be the boogeyman, but he's just not.
Yeah. He tried, but not quite.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I really wanted to like this a lot. I think, like, similarly to what we said about the first book, you know, it's not trash, but there's still a lot to be desired. There's a lot that was left on the cutting room floor, I guess. Maybe they edited out the good stuff.
Or she needs a good editor to push her to add more good stuff.
I agree. This really does between the characters, the plot, and like the plot holes that were created by this book, it does kind of seem a little novice. Like maybe this was her first series, but it's not.
It's not. It's her third or her fourth one.
I just to think about the fact that we talked through and found a huge gaping hole through the whole first book.
I mean, it literally negates everything that happened in book one. Book one did not need to happen at all.
No.
Because Varro was there the entire time. He's not new. He was right there with Torrin the entire time.
And now I can see also, side note to that, they really made a case for why the prince should hang around with them, because how he is an amplifier of power.
Yeah.
He's very useful for that team.
So that'll be good. That'll be fun for next time when somebody else is suddenly like, I'm the most powerful person ever, and people assume I'm the boogeyman. 2.
If he was an amplifier, how come he didn't help Varro when they were trying to escape? He could have helped him with amplifying, and then no one would have seen them. They could have walked right the fuck out.
Well, he was trying to get Key out of there because Varro was trying to protect everybody and they needed Key gone, so they're not thinking straight, and they're just like, get Key on the ship, which is, terrible. He should have been helping Varro amplify everything and getting them out.
Yeah, they could have just walked straight out, because he would have had everybody under control, with the exception of the people with the helmets on.
Yeah.
That would have really helped them out.
But
see. Okay, let's go ahead and rate it. Let's rate it. I'm tired of talking shit. I'm sorry, not sorry. I said what I said.
You said what you said.
You want to go first this time? I think I went first last time.
I'm going to give it 3 stars. If you ignore the fact that Varro was in book 1 on its own, like it's cute, it's decently written. Yes, there are plot holes and things that annoy me, but like it's decently written. I've read much worse. So I want to give her props for that.
Writing style
is good. Yeah.
The skill of writing.
Yes. It's obviously not the best, but it's not the worst. It's very middle of the road. And again, like I said at the very beginning, this feels like a book I've read 100 times. There was nothing new. There was nothing that jumped out at me. If anybody asks me for like a sci-fi space romance book, I will probably recommend this, with the caveat that it's like, it's not the best. But if you want romance in space, like, here's a series. So I don't hate it, even with the giant plot holes.
I think I would not recommend this one. I would recommend the Consortium Rebellion one over
That was
this.
A good one, yes.
The Polaris Rising is the first book in that series. I would recommend that trilogy by her.
I love that
over
book.
this.
Yeah.
Polaris Rising got a 5-star from me.
It was good.
The second book got a 4-star and the third book got a 3-star. So but out the gate, it was hitting on all cylinders out the gate.
Yes, very true. So I will recommend this author for anybody who wants romance in space. But caveats, lots of caveats. Like I want to email her and be like, I see your potential. I see what you can do. Please let me help you and push you, and you can do so much better, because somebody needs to be like, hey, babe, you just kind of negated your entire first book.
Yeah. Hey, dude.
Love it. It's a good start, but let's fix it.
She needs like an assistant or somebody to come through and help her keep track of the plot.
Yes.
From book to book.
Yes.
Okay, so my rating, I'm going to agree with you and come in at a 3. Pretty much for the same reasons you stated. And the reasons we stated for the last book. It's more of the same. It's very similar.
Thankfully, there was more action than the last book. Like, props for that, because if it was another grocery store run, I would have thrown the book.
I agree. So yeah, it's fine. It's in the wheelhouse. But I also, so I don't know, there's been a little bit of, well, it's some old drama now, but I read this book back, the book I'm about to recommend, I read it back in, let me check my tags right quick, 2016. So It's pretty old. It came out in October 2015. I read it in 2016. It's the first book in the Illuminae Files by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. Do you remember that?
Yes.
It was really hot in 2015, 2016. That trilogy was very good. It was very, very good. YA romance, but I think it was very mild on the romance, just like this. Very almost, a whisper. It's there, but it's definitely not romance forward. I think it's more science fiction forward.
Okay.
YA, some romance. And if you want something that's just, especially if you're an audiobook listener, this trilogy was stellar in audiobook. It was like a performance. It was almost like an audiobook performance. Not just, they had a shit ton of narrators on that thing. It
like
was
a graphic
really
audio?
Good. Almost like graphic. It was really close to graphic audio, yes, but not. This was before, I think, graphic audio was like making its own presence known, like that.
Yeah.
Because this came out. So again, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 narrators on this thing. And they had sounds, space sounds. You could hear like, it was amazing.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Okay.
So if you want something in the vein of this, but better, sorry, not sorry, check out the Illuminae.
I will
Files.
check that out. Yeah.
Illuminae book 1. I know there was some drama about Jay Kristoff that I can't really remember. There was some drama about him a couple years back, but I don't really remember the details.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to speak on it because I don't want to misspeak.
Yeah.
But if you're okay to, check it out, definitely do. Because I think you'll get more satisfaction out of it, especially if you're an audiobook listener. This audiobook narrator was, again, fine. She wasn't bad. She wasn't great. But it was very lackluster in comparison to.
Okay.
Chef's kiss, if that's what you want. So that's where I sit on that. So next month, we are going to come back and we're going to finish out this trilogy with Capture the Sun, which focuses on another couple. As we talked about earlier, it's Lexi and Nilo.
I think it's Nilo.
And I think Casey and I are also going to do the prequel, right? We're going to do Honor and Shadows. It's a really short, quick read. We're going to feature this on Patreon and on the Spreaker supporter section. So if you want to hear us talk about that, if you're curious to see how what we think about the prequel, you'll want to subscribe on Patreon or Spreaker so you'll get access to that when it comes out. And I think that is it. There's an after show available right now, also available on Patreon and the Spreaker app for supporters. And anything else, Casey?
I think that's it.
All right, we're done today.
Yay.
It was a fun episode. It's funny, even though at the beginning I'm like, I'm ready, I guess. It ends up being a really good conversation, which I love. So even if I don't love the book, the conversation is fun.
Yes. Yes. It's always fun talking with you. Hearts.
Yay, hearts. Oh, wait, or should we do it the new style?
No, I can't figure out how to do it. I feel like a weird, creepy spider. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm too old.
This our old-fashioned hearts. It's fine. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you for checking out the whole podcast, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like the episode, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Did you enjoy today's episode? If so, please head over to Apple Podcast or Spotify and leave a positive 5-star review. It's a simple action that makes a big difference. You can also like this episode on your favorite podcast player or share it with your fellow bookworm friends on social media. Joining the Shelf Addiction Patreon family is another way to support us. For as little as $2 a month, you can help our team create even more amazing bookish content. If Patreon isn't your thing, consider becoming a supporter on the Spreaker app for just $5 a month and gain access to exclusive audio-only content. You can find me everywhere, including Instagram, X, and TikTok under the handle Shelf Addiction. Join our book club of the same name on the book club's website and app, where we discuss all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven Network. Thanks for tuning in.